Hey guys, it's Ida. So a little bit of backstory what I'm doing today. One of my friends had a really bad. He's playing AD carry and he had a really bad game on Kaisa, and he wanted me to look over it and see what he did wrong. All right, so getting to the game right now. Our main player is our Kaisa player. She will be playing bot lane again as Lux and Kaisa versus Jinx and Galio on the red side. We have a Sylas versus a Kali mid, and a Jax versus Shen top lane, as well as a Kayn jungle and a Viego jungle. So let's talk about the matchup a bit. Lux is a very poke hard bot lane, or poke and CC bot lane support. She has good crowd control and she's able to poke from a safe distance from the opponents. Meanwhile, Kaisa is a very farm heavy early game AD carry. She wants to get to her first like 1 or 2 items and then she wants to fight. Jinx is very similar to Kaisa, with the exception that she's a much hyper. I think Jinx is a much more hyper carry than Kaisa, but Kaisa has more individual play for ulti and her E. Meanwhile, for Jinx to get her attack speed steroid, she needs to get a kill or she needs to get an assist. So we'll see how that goes. So let's get into laning phase. So this is just gonna be normal early laning phase, farm. Be safe, don't get engaged by Galio. Galio is your very standard engaged crowd control support when he's playing as support. He's not going for OP. Now, I'm going to talk about this positioning decision because you might notice that he's getting really far up into their face, which you would be correct. He is getting really far into their face without really having a way to back out easily. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about this trade a bit more. So the trade starts out with Lux landing an E onto Jinx, getting a slow off, and Kaisa moving in against his Galio. Galio cannot dash right now because of the root, and we're able to get a lot of good poke onto Jinx. Now, here is the issue. Here, Galio can now use his dash to crowd control and engage on Kaisa when she's about 2/3 health. Lux is not with you because all her cooldowns are off. She already used her E and her E to start the fight, and her Q to keep Jinx in place. Here, we're getting greedy for the last hit of our passive to force Jinx out of lane, is the idea, I imagine. Issue here is that Galio has his crowd control. He's up and he has Ignite. He's ready to go in, but Kaisa really shouldn't be here at this position unless she's willing to give up her flash, which I really wouldn't give up my flash this early in the game as Kaisa. So you saw what happened. Kaisa gets traded back into, gets ignited, forced to use heal, and we go back to farming. Oh, okay. Alright. We get to talk about this. Risky engages. So I think you had as Kaisa, I think you had a similar thought process when you went in last time. Alright, so let's see what happened. Lux landed her Q, binding Galio. That's a 2-second window. You flash in, go for auto, Q, but Galio was able to follow up very easily on this. Lux was not really with you in that fight. She was pretty far back. Relative to how the fight played out, she's pretty far back. Let's see. So look at this. Lux is all the way back in the minion wave and you're past their minions. And Galio's root just came off. It's really risky to make an engage like this when you didn't know if Jinx had heal. Unless you did know. I don't think you did. I don't think it was marked. Let's check. Yeah, I don't think it was marked. Maybe you had it marked in your head, I don't know, but either way, I still wouldn't have made this engage because Galio has good crowd control, and no matter how much damage you do, Lux had to flash Ignite in order to follow up on whatever you were doing. Which is really bad. Because now you have no summons bot lane. Galio still has his flash, and you traded 2 for 1 against Jinx. Alright, so most of my early game commentaries is basically positioning, knowing when to engage, keeping track of cooldowns is a big thing. I think that's another thing that we're not keeping track of. We're not keeping track of when Galio's abilities are up or when they're down, or we're not really aware how much crowd control damage Galio can bring. Maybe it's because you didn't play against Galio support yet. It could be anything, really. So Lux wants to keep poking on Jinx. This is Jinx or Lux's main, like, primary thing that she wants to do when she's in a lane like this. She just wants to hit E onto Jinx and keep poking her out. Against Galio, she would just like back off. She's like, she can't really fight. She can't really do anything by Galio. At least she can deal shit with Jinx. Do shit against Jinx. Galio going for engage. Shouldn't be too much of retaliation. So that's just a positioning thing. Make sure you're aware of how much space that Galio can control. The area of control that Galio has is basically his range of his E and his W combined. Alright, going back. I would push for a turret plating here. What Lux is doing is the correct play. This way you can get a turret plating before you back, and it's still worth, even though you're going to miss out a little bit of CS when you come back. You can use your E if you want to rotate faster back to lane, by the way. So here, I would never have walked up this far because Galio can always just E, Q, W engage like this. Of course, it's not that bad, but you did end up wasting your heal, and you're taking a lot of poke damage. It's one of those things that like you have to be aware that like engage supports want to always go in on you if you're there 2v1. 2v1 is the perfect ideal engage, just fight bot lane. See, Lux wants to keep poking Jinx. This is what Lux wants to do. She doesn't want to keep fighting over and over again. I didn't even realize we were getting ganked. Okay, note, when you're playing against a Kayn, ward here, ward inside the tri-bush, or ward at this little sliver here near the blast plant. Because Kayn will just walk up here, stand here, press E, go. Or he'll stand like here, walk over here, press E, go. Like that's just how Kayn's gonna play. When they're ganking bot lane at least. It's okay though, your Shen got you. Here, I would have walked forward more, so let's look at it a little bit closer. So we're here. Your team is looking to engage onto Galio. Galio E's into Shen, and he starts W. I would be walking towards here where the cannon is, because this way you're not getting zoned off, and you can make that risky play because Shen's there. You will also not have gone rooted, which I think you're just trying to make the safe play, but I would have walked up. So that's why you didn't have to force your ulti out. Okay, so I can see on the minimap that there's a TP going on here, but it doesn't come up in the replay because, right, it's a good company. Lux is pinging it. We should have been aware that this is happening. Maybe you're tunnel visioning for the kill on Galio. Let's see. Yeah, we're tunnel visioning for Galio kill. Jinx hits her W. Oh, Jax TP'd. Okay. Oh, I thought Silas TP'd. Huh. Okay. Anyway, Jax TP's, kills Lux. I believe this was a 4-man gank bot lane. Yeah, it's a 4-man gank bot lane. Silas appears. This is just a situation where you're tunnel visioning hard for a kill, and then you lose track of the rest of the game. You cannot just... Don't lose track of it. Like, I know it's just like a just don't do it sort of thing, but I don't really know how to teach people to look at their minimaps or listen for sound cues, because most of what I'm playing for League is just listen for the sound cues to something is going on, then you'll hear it. Just keep aware of your map and your surroundings. The TP should have been you should have seen the TP. I don't know if that's just a replay issue or that's just a game issue, but you just had the warning here, you were aware, Lux was aware, she was pinging it. Just gotta stay away from your map. You don't have to play for kills all the time in bot lane. Since you're Kai'Sa, you can play for, you can basically play for the late game and just keep farming. Kai'Sa's gonna do a lot of damage late game because of her passive and her mixed damage. It's pretty good. Here we get engaged on by Galio, and our first instinct is to hit the guy who's attacking us, right? But I don't think this is the right play, especially since Galio is super tanky at this point. Like, he already has Aegis, he already has Kindle Gem, he's very tanky. Or at least he has a ton of HP that you have to chunk through, and you currently don't have a way to deal with that aside from your passive, because I'm pretty sure passive does. Percentage. Oh, it's missing health. Oh well. So the only way you can do that is by your passive. Lux does not have the damage output to deal with Galio. So here, I wouldn't even be trading with Galio. If I was going to go in, I would be backing up. towards Lux, because he already uses E and W, backing up towards Lux and poking at Galio while you retreat, because right now Jinx is going to be able to pop off freely and there's nothing you can really do to retaliate. You don't really have the ability to fight back against Jinx when we're getting engaged. Either that or I would have just gone straight for Jinx. I would have just ignored Galio. Think. See, this is the kind of positioning I would have rather had last time. Minus the ulti. That was very good positioning. So let's analyze that again. I'll tell you what you did good. Cause I'm like that. I do what I want. Okay, cool. So let's look at this again. Galio walks up for a trade because Lux was getting aggressive inside this bush. Galio EWs. This is very good positioning for you because then you could trade back against Galio without worrying about Jinx poking you back. So you can just focus on Galio. So you just bam 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 bam. I would not have ulted there. I would have waited because you knew your Akali was coming. She's already on your blue side. I would have waited for Akali before doing anything. But I guess it worked out in the end. So, who cares? I'm pretty sure Akali picks up the skill too. Yep. Cool. Rotate mid, looking for a pick onto Sylas. Nothing comes out of it. He did waste his flash though, which is not bad. But Akali wasted her flash too. Alright, so this is classic contesting dragon. You getting engaged on by Galio. Now here's an issue that I had that I wanted to talk about because I knew this was going to come up. Here we're walking away from our teammates. We're walking away from our teammates and down towards the dragon pit. I think you wanted poke. I'm not really sure what this was. I think I would have moved up or around and around if I was going to be playing this. So let's see. I'm going to just talk about how I would have played this. So you see Galio, you get your passive up. Or your E up. You see Galio. I wouldn't have walked up this far since we didn't know where Jinx was, and even though we knew Sylas was mid and that he might have backed here. You can see that he has ulti, and you knew that he had ult. What we didn't know was where Jinx was, and walking up here without any of your support, really, like your support was like back here, Kali was over here, is really risky. We're getting poked, or no, traded. Galio engages. The Jinx goes down. Here, I would have walked up. Realistically, I don't think it was a good idea to walk down towards Dragon Pit because now we're seeing Sylas is popping out here and the traps are down. If we walk down here, we're separating ourselves from our teammates, even just this little bit. Here's just a positioning issue. I don't think you saw Sylas here. I think it's just like map knowledge. Not really map knowledge. I think it's just you have to know that like Sylas was mid and he was on a decent HP. For Sylas being on half HP, 2/3 HP, this is a good health pool to be on, so that you can engage, not get one shot, and then W to get your health back. So that's probably what's gonna happen. E. Yep. And you didn't get one shot. Knowing the kill potential of your opponents is pretty important too. Sylas is very strong. He was 5 and 3 earlier, so he wasn't anywhere near weak. I think that was mainly a positioning issue. I think you just need to be conscious of where your teammates are, where the enemies are, and where the enemies could be in the next couple seconds. You are a little stronger though, since you have Serrated Dirk. Kali goes for a good gank here. Here's something I want to talk about. I know I want to talk about this because this is a bad engage. Okay. Let's take it one by one. Akali goes for this really good gank. She gets a pick onto Jinx, and she's looking to back off. I don't think she wants to continue the chase on Kayn. Here we have no vision over Galio. I don't blame you for not seeing Galio. I think you knew that Kayn's W was down, so you wanted to do this, get a trade in, maybe get a kill, but Akali's already backed off. She has no cooldowns. She's already used her full combo to kill Jinx. At that point, this dive's not gonna work 1v1. I think when using Kai'Sa's ulti, you want to use it either you want to use it aggressively when you're ahead. If you are ahead and you are strong, then you want to be able to ulti and get your procs off. You want to do damage, sort of thing. But here we're not advantage, and we still win it anyway without having full vision and not really knowing where Galio was. It was just a rough engage. I'm pretty sure you die off of this. I don't think there's a way you escape this. Yeah. Okay. And a colleague died too, which really sucks. Because that was a big bounty. Galio was seen inside of the jungle. W comes out. Here, I would have immediately E'd, because you need to get away from Jinx before she can start doing her damage, because she's very strong at this point. Flashes away, that's fine. Here, I think we're getting greedy to like try to save this tower or contest Jinx from getting the tower, when realistically you can't really do anything and she'll just run you down. Like this. Right. Maybe that was I think that was a tilt issue. I think at this point you just want to like be able to play the game and like do something, when realistically you really cannot do anything. Kai'Sa, when she's behind, she really needs to farm and just let her team peel her off. Like, you need to play around your team at this point and farm safely. Coming back in. See Jax, this is a good time to back off. This is good going back to your teammates. You do want to be playing around your teammates at this point, because at 25 minutes in they have 3 dragons. You really need to like group up, and I don't think going for this farm is a good idea. Okay, good. You saw Jackson, he backed off. We're really doing this is really pushed. We're really pushed up at that point. All right, let's see. You are split off from your team, meaning if they get engaged, you have no one. If you get engaged, you can't peel, and if they get engaged on, which they have very good engage, that means you really aren't in a good position to help them. So this is a really bad positioning idea. This would be good if you could solo, like if you're playing a flanker, like an assassin, or if you're playing someone like a mage. It wouldn't be awful, but here you really were not able to contribute to the fight in the slightest, because your teammates all got engaged on it and you were in bad position, so you couldn't like do the damage you need to. Okay. That was a really stupid Silas E. I'm gonna do this again. I'm gonna show. Okay, so here, I just want to exemplify a couple things. We're pressing W here for some reason. I don't know if you just want to get as much damage off as you could, but this is a very bad idea because your W keeps you, basically roots you for like 0.5 seconds, however long the cast time is. And it's essentially like pressing W on Jhin, or if it's like pressing R on Nunu. You are basically rooted for the duration of your cast. And here you're not moving back, you could be moving towards Lux, you could be a little bit farther ahead, and doing that would have kept you out of this Silas E. But instead we W'd and we traded like probably 70-80 damage onto Galio for your life, which is less than ideal. They have a really good CC chain because they have Galio, they have Silas, they have Red Kayn, and they have Jax, so their crowd control is really good. Really unfortunate. That might be a tilt thing as well. I think it's just your decision making really went down as soon as you started feeding a little bit. Even though you are feeding your Kai'Sa, you can come back in this game. Just always keep that in mind when you're playing a late game hyper carry. You can come back, especially since like anything happened in the game. Here I'm going to talk about positioning. I just want to confirm what I'm thinking. Okay, that's fine. We have one ward. A singular ward here. This is a bad thing, because imagine they had Galio here and Kayn in this bush, or Kayn like here. Kayn can get on you, Galio can follow up, or Kayn can probably just 1v1 you, to be real. When you're pushed up like this as an AD carry, you really need to have wards to protect you and keep you aware of what might come at you, because you're not strong at all. You have no way to escape other than your E and your R. Your R is situational, your E is a, like, what, 1 second speed up, I think? What is it? Just kidding. Apparently it's 4 seconds. Dang. Ha. That's really good. Okay. Is it decaying? I have no clue. Oh no, it's only for 0.5 seconds. Just kidding. Yeah. You have a very short like speed up, and it's not really gonna save you. I think you die here. I don't know though. So we are farming for a little while. Oh, you're fine. I would still be afraid of farming there. I would rather group up with my team and go mid, because your team can actually heal for you. Let's go back a bit. I want to talk about this positioning issue. So here we're cut off from our whole team. Akali is the closest person to you. Lux is dead. She died mid lane, I think. I don't know where she died. She's dead. Viego is all the way at the tower. You are alone here, alright? If the enemy was aware of where you were, then you being bot lane was probably the worst positioning spot you could be. And going through this jungle is really risky because we have no wards here, 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 here. We have no wards on this entire side. Kayn can just eat over the wall because Kayn does that. Kayn will just want to look for a pick here because he can. And then let's look at this very slowly. We stop moving here so that, yeah, Kayn's coming. We stop moving here, we walk backwards when we should have just kept running for a turret. Because right now you are so behind that like without good peel, because the Akali's not going to peel you, let's be real. Without good peel, you are not going to live ever. Like you were just dead. That's just the reality of the situation. There's no way for you to live without someone peeling for you. It's a matter of play for your team. Don't play solo as an AD carry whenever you're behind. When you're behind as an AD carry, you need to play for your team because your team can actually let you do the damage you need to deal. Even when you're ahead as ADC, I would still say don't play super solo unless you're playing like Tristana or Lucian or someone who is like known for being able to play solo. But you're basically playing a glorified Cogmore right now, so you really cannot be playing alone without your team. Your team is top side, your bot side. Just gotta be very careful when you're farming bot lane. The team gets engaged on and they're dying, as per usual. Here, this is a very, very, very bad decision. We were forced to burn flash. I'm not gonna talk about too much about that. I think it was just that you wanted to come to your team quicker, and you and Viego got caught. It's just one of those things that you have no control of your entire bot lane because you have no wards. Like your team has no wards, which is it's just unfortunate. I don't know what Shen's doing, but I guess it's fine. Force the Galio. Don't know what the heal was for. Probably for the speed up. I still wouldn't have gone for it. I think it's just greedy. I would have backed off here by now because we have no control of our own jungle. Kayn was spotted. Shen ulti comes out. It's unfortunate. Yeah, you just have to learn that like when you're behind as AD carry, you are really behind and you didn't have Lux to help you peel. The most peel you had was Shen, which really was not enough to keep like even just Kayn off you. But the Shen also had to deal with the Sylas. It's just unfortunate. So main thing about this game is tilt management. After you started dying over and over again, you start tilting, you start making bad decisions, you are positioning poorly. You really need to manage that like when you're playing from behind, it is still winnable and that you can still come back. Especially as Kaisa, you are playing a hyper scaling champion. You don't need to worry about playing solo when you're as a AD carry. Even just like, most AD carries, you can't really worry about playing solo. So don't try to like push up for a wave. Don't try to like grab CS really aggressively. Just play with your team, play back, and eventually you will be able to like do damage hyper carry because you are an AD carry. You just do damage no matter what you want. No matter what you do. Blah.